So what is your guys' take on that? That why do you guys think today? What are some of the things about today and why people are such snowflakes?
It's bullshit. It's really bullshit. It's all these kids getting whatever they want to, like obesity out of control, people's mindsets out of control. It's like everything is okay nowadays, and that's just not. It's a parenting challenge.
Yes.
It's an absolute parenting challenge, in my opinion. And whether you're a single dad or a married dad or married mom or single mom, it doesn't matter, man. Woman the F up, or man the F up. Let's get it going. And our kids, like my kids, when my two boys were 13 and 15, I sent their little asses door knocking, man, because I wanted them to really understand the value of money. I wanted them to know, hey, it's not rainbows and gold at the end of the rainbow. Like let's go. It's time to work.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that a lot of us nowadays, we think, man, we work so hard. We don't want our kids to work hard like that. And that's the food for failure. That's horrible.
That's
they're growing up with no grit. I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of the younger guys that are coming into my company, and this grit is something you can't teach. The hunger, the stuff, the struggle, and I think that's a lot. And we're living inside of entitlement. Everybody's entitled. Everybody wants to be entitled to this, entitled to that, without having to really put the real work for it. And for me, is I'm seeing that more with the younger generation. They don't have a lot of responsibility because their parents are babying them too much. They're spoiling them too much. I used to take my daughter too. I used to take her door knocking when she was with me. She got tired. She does not want anything to do with real estate. Just so you know, my daughter has no want or need to want to do real estate because I used to take her to that. I took her to showing appointments. I took her to door knocking. She's been sitting in with me at open houses from time to time, and it's so she can see, and she appreciates that. She's older, like, damn, this is what it takes to actually make money in this business. And I think that's what we don't do enough with the younger generation. We're making it too easy for them.
Yes.
And that's what's creating the weak society. And everybody gets offended now because they don't get exposed to
weak as hell, man.
We grew up with. Yeah. And like you said, I found out he grew up in South Central too. I grew up in South Central. Just to get home, we have to be survival. Imagine the kids now having to walk home from school. They'll get killed. They will not survive. We had to be alert, right? It's like, hey, those cholos gonna come up with me. I remember I was standing, we're calling my tia or somebody to come pick us up. Cholo comes up, where are you from? They sock us. They just hit me in the face for no reason.
Right.
So they decided to throw themselves on the floor, cry, oh my God, where's my mommy? You know what I mean? I had to fucking eat it up. Try to fight back, but they pull out some guns on us, and we can't mess with that.
Exactly.
And then we move forward. Hey, me madrearon y ya estuvo. But that build, that character. And I think that's what's lacking right now.
Yeah.
It's the build of character. So it's not their fault. As parents, we try to give them more of what we didn't have and a better lifestyle. But I think that we need to get good as parents to showing them how hard things can really be and putting them through that, so they have a better understanding of what it takes to not get offended easily.
Yeah.
To have grit, to have tough skin, to push through when somebody doesn't agree with what you say. You're not gonna go out there and try to cancel them.
Right.
I don't know. I'm
freedom of speech is gone.
Yeah, freedom of speech is gone.
And listen, man, it's a pivotal moment right now when Tate got canceled, for example. I don't know if you guys know, it was a simultaneous attack on all his life. Every social media got canceled, but not only social media. His Uber account got canceled. His Airbnb account got canceled. Trading accounts got canceled. That lets you know,
wow,
the establishment is everything.
It's large.
Because he had a very big voice, and I think that they silenced him at a very
pivotal
infancy stage of his. Even though he had a lot of influence, a month ago he was the most Googled man in the world.
Yep.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, imagine that, right? And what was he saying to be? He was saying, listen, we live in a society where boys are being taught to be like girls and to be weak. And guess what? How do you weaken a society? How do you weaken a people? You weaken and take away the men, or you make them grow weak men, because that is this is his views, and I like your guys' opinions on this. He says, this is the biggest threat to the establishment, is men that think for themselves. People nowadays don't think for themselves. So what is your guys' opinion on that? Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? I love Dr. Lewis' opinion on this.
No, just to backtrack just a little bit. I think that and I just met Manny.
Manny.
But I'm sure that you guys have this story, right, from wherever you grew up. Maybe things were a little difficult and times were hard, and you had to fight through it. And I know yourself, and I know myself, and that's what builds our identity, right?
Yes.
And like where I was born, and saw my parents were immigrants that came to this country 62 years ago. My mom she only attained a 5th grade education. My dad's 6th grade education. So when I was young, I thought education was the way out of the ghetto, right?
Same.
Then I became educated. I graduated, right? At 24 years old, licensed doctor of chiropractic, but I had no resources. And then something changed my life. I met a person that mentored me for 19 years. And that person changed my life because he changed my philosophy. Since then, my life has become totally different. But we're faced with a crossroads. We're faced with a crisis because now you have a group you have another generation that's relatively successful, but now their kids are being born into the success.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. They're not born on King Boulevard. They're born in Laverne Hills.
Right.
And so how do we fabricate that environment? That's true. Going back to you.
Great question.
Going back to you and Maximus. I love when you're like training them. The story that comes to mind. My son has a black belt in Japanese Shotokan. He was at his first tournament with Coach Pacheco.
Yeah.
And it was an international tournament, and there was kids from different countries, and there was this little boy named Max. I'll never forget, from Mexico. It was my son's first tournament, and it wasn't point fighting. It was what's the other, not point fighting,
Continuous?
but continuous. He didn't know what continuous was, neither did I. And they were in an octagon. This little kid just starts, just tearing him up. So my son calls timeout. I didn't even know he called timeout. He calls timeout, and he comes to me. He said, "Dad," and he's crying. I said, "Son, are you hurt?" He said, "No." I said, "Are you bleeding?" He said, "No." I said, "You got to turn around. You got to finish the fight."
Yeah.
I don't care if you run around for the next 3 minutes. You have to finish the fight. Well, of course, he lost that fight. And we were going through the hotel, and I had parents coming up to me super upset. They're like, "Why didn't you throw the white towel in?" I said, "So let me explain this." I said, he was at a heightened level of emotion. If I throw the white towel in, when he's at a state where he's losing, but the emotion is so big, I'm deepening the thought that you can quit whenever you want, and I'm not going to raise a quitter.
Wow.
I'd rather raise someone that loses a battle than a quitter. I said, I'm never going to do that. So what we've done in our household is put our kids in environments of adversity, environments of challenge. You guys talk about your kids. I had my kids cold calling, farming with me, going to farmers.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the common denominator.
Absolutely.
Is fostering independence.
Absolutely. I love.
We all foster
cold calling.
independence.
I love doing that stuff. You know what I mean? And my son would come to me. He's like, "Dad, this is hard." I said, That's the point.
Yes.
I said, this is hard.
supposed to be.
And this is what I want you to learn. Not that you're ever going to cold call or door knock for the rest of your life, but you need to build that skin, that you need to understand what grit is about, because otherwise we will raise a generation of people that are entitled. Especially on social media.
Straight up.
I can walk by a mall, stand next to a Lamborghini, take a picture, put it out. Now everyone thinks, "Oh, I'm 20 years old with a Lamborghini." No. That Lamborghini takes blood, sweat, and tears to get that Lamborghini, but the perception, right, on social media. So it's a tremendous challenge right now to raise young men and young women, to raise men and women rightfully strong, not egotistically strong, but confident and courageous in their own identity. Yeah. It's quite a challenge.
Same thing for health too. I see some obese little kids, man, little 10-year-old, 11-year-old, chunky A's, and that is a parenting freaking problem. I almost want to get into, and this goes back to what's accepted in society, is I want to get in the parents' dish and go, "Hey, man, stop taking them to McDonald's." Like, I know you're in a hurry, but you're fucking up your kids.
Yes.
Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, I have certain things that are drawbacks of mine. Nobody's going to be perfect, but in the sense that creating a good adult, that is your responsibility.
Yes.
It was Frederick Taylor that said that, man.
Yeah.
I'd rather create great little humans to become great adults than to try and fix broken human beings, like big grown-up human beings. Like, that's your responsibility. And that's the reason why society is where it's at right now, and unfortunately where it's going. And for a guy like Tate to come out and say, like, "Hey, you're fat. Oh, hey, you might offend my little. Well, he's fat because of you. Oh man, now they have to own it.
Yep.
Hey, you're a bully at school. You're a bully because your parents fight all the time, and your dad hits your mom. That's you. That's your fault.
Right,
You know.
right.
And they need to own it. They need to soak it up, and they go, "Hey man, I need to change what I'm currently doing to change what I'm currently getting." And it's just society is just so jacked that it pisses me off. I think I'm going to move to like Wyoming or something.
No, listen, I
You've
was
been to Florida and Wyoming already.
exactly, man. This guy's gonna go all over.
I'm going to have you over, Doc. That's fine.
I'll tell you what. Right now, my place for my top pick place right now so far is Sarasota. Although I'm having second downs after what recently happened. So
Yeah, that
my
was
prayers
nasty.
out to the
Well, if
to the
any of you
people
guys
out
want to sell your house, just let me know.
there. Exactly.
I'll gladly move in. I'll refer you to a nice
That's
agent
right,
out
that's
of
right.
state.
No, but to your point of raising kids in that state, as you know, my son Maximus is in jiu-jitsu, and Alexander's not there yet because he's only 1, right? But 6 months from now he'll be training, right? No, soon enough.
I believe you. So
Yeah, I
for
know,
some reason, I believe you.
He'll be training at home. I got pictures of Maximus at 2 years old doing an armbar on me. Granted, he didn't know what he was doing and stuff, but to me, for example, martial arts is like if you ever see my kid train. They do duck walks, they do sprawls, they do, lunges all the way across the mat. You'll see one kid that'll start from one side of the mat and finish to the other side of the mat. Never once takes a shortcut. Never once. Everybody else, they could do an extra 1 or 2. This guy will go all the way over there because I said, listen, I don't care about you being the fastest. You do it the best because I instill these things into him, right? Because I want him to have that discipline because I believe that discipline trumps motivation. Would you guys agree that discipline trumps motivation?
Sure.
And I said, no, these other kids are going to stop before you do. You go all the way. It doesn't matter what they do. You're not influenced by what they do. You influence them by what you do. So you're supposed to go all the way, you go all the way. And he always goes all the way. He has long curly hair, right? We love his hair. It looks like Tarzan, right? And as he gets older, this guy, I could only imagine when he gets older, he's going to be a jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing guy. He's going to be in great shape. All the girls, man. That's what I'm saying, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Jaylene, you know what I'm saying? But the point that
Be a cougar, but
Tate,
Right.
Tate talks about that too. He said that his life lesson with his dad was when his dad took him to the barber and shaved his head off.
Oh, is that right?
Did you know that? Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
Shaved his head off. So his dad and his mom were always bickering about how parenting was going to be inside of the household. So him and his brother, they went to get a haircut, and the dad was off to a chess tournament because his dad was a chess champion. So his dad was off to a chess tournament. He comes back 4 months, 5 months later, and the first day he's back, his mom says, they messed up Andrew's hair. Andrew's his middle name, by the way, but they messed up Andrew's hair. And then the dad goes, "The fuck? You teaching my kids how to be wimps or what? Who cares about their hair?" And he's 12 years old. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like anchors and parenting and things like that. So they get in an argument and he leaves. She kicks him out. He calls his son the next day. He says, "Andrew, I want you to go with me. I'm not allowed to go to the house, but come to the hotel." So Tate goes to the hotel and his dad takes him to another barber. And he says, "Hey, I want you to shave his head off." And Andrew says, "Well, Dad, I don't want to shave my head off." And the dad says, "Who cares? What you're going to learn is this is a life lesson. And as you get older, who gives a damn about your hair?" His dad was brutal.
Yeah,
His dad was kind of strong.
Yes.
So it just goes to show, like the guy, and again, I'm with you. I agree with the 85% of what this guy's talking about. But he had somewhat of a hard,
he had
upbringing. He quit being in a tournament when he was 6, 7 years old, chess, and then that's what got him into kickboxing.
Right.
So when the barber cut off his hair, and now he's still hairless, and he can grow back a full set of hair. That's the reason why he did it, was because he's like, man, who cares? It's about your confidence. It's about this. It's about that. And that's what again, I do believe in, is confidence is key, man. He talks about like depression and how guys will be emailing him and saying, "Hey man, I'm depressed." And he says, "Well, you won't be depressed if you go up into the gym for X amount of hours. You won't have time to be depressed. Then you feel better about yourself. You get your physiology going and your energy, et cetera, et cetera."
And
so it's
I
strong.
agree with that because I agree with that because, Earl Nightingale says, success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal, right? So if we see progress in our business, right, I believe that we're the happiest. Some of the time that we're the happiest is when we're building and accomplishing, right? Even if it's you're building a tree house, you feel good seeing it come together, right? Because everything's created in the mind and in the physical. Same thing with your body. So he told that guy, right, if you start getting jacked and if you start getting a six-pack, you contact me as you're getting progress. And the guy started contacting and realizing, hey man, I don't feel as bad as I used to. But I think also something happens when, for example, when we were kids, in school, we didn't. Let's say, for example, me, I didn't pay attention. Oh, you know what, Juan Carlos, he's very distracted. He's a very distracted boy. What would they say now? ADHD or whatever, right? And they want to drug up, right?
Labeling, drugging, getting them in worse situations than before. I believe in that too.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, dude, they
What
got
didn't
sex
exist
changes
before.
option. I mean, come on, man.
Now we're having to
Ain't
worry
even
about if you want to sit down or stand up, take a piss, and what restroom you need to go into.
Yeah, bro.
That's all the shit that's happening. So in that part is where I agree where Andrew Tate says that we have to be men and strong men, and men that freaking take that power back, because now you're having a society that, well, what's a woman? What's a woman? Well, I saw an interview of this guy's. He goes, well, physically when you're born, I was born a male. Yeah, but I identify as a woman. But you're a male. So there's a male and a woman. Now it's no, but it's what I identify. I go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where did this come from? Did we ever have this shit before? Like, no, you were born a fucking man and you wanted to be a woman. Or look like a woman.
Can you believe
man.
that this is controversial these days? There's men and there's women. 100 years before, 5-10 years ago, this was never in the history of humankind. This was never controversial. Not only was it not controversial, it was like you were looked upon like you need to be in a mental hospital, bro.
Yeah.
You're not dumb. Yeah. You're crazy. There's something wrong up here. Hey guys, if you like this short clip, make sure you check out another short clip right here. And if you want to catch a full episode, click on this one. And I'll see you guys at the top or from the top.